Okay, today we're going to be talking about the Hazmapper. The Hazmapper you can find in the workspace under the visualization tab. Then you click on Hazmapper and then click the Launch Hazmapper button to launch the application. And when you do, you should see something like this. So this is the Hazmapper. Basically on the left side over here is the control panel. And there's some buttons up here to basically bring in data to the Hazmapper and set the settings, and then some buttons over here that we'll talk about a little bit to draw stuff and also change the base layers and things like that. Yeah, so the idea of the Hazmapper is basically to be able to create and share data in DesignSafe that is kind of geospatial in nature. So we can bring in a variety of different data types. GeoJSON is the preferred format. We can bring in KMZ files to some degree. There's somewhat limited support, but it should still work. KML files, GeoJPEGs, which are geo-referenced JPEG images, and also GPX tracks. So those are basically tracks that you get from a device, which is tracking your location at all times. Shapefile support is not in there yet, but it is coming soon, hopefully in the next major release. So yeah, let's go ahead and rename this map. So if you click on the edit button right here, you should see this pane which pops up, and we'll say this map is going to be called Joe's Cool Map, and we'll give it a description of let's see, we'll call it pictures and things. And then click on the edit button again to hide that pane. Yeah, so features in the Hazmapper can be organized into what are called layer groups. So the idea being that maybe you've got a whole bunch of images and then a whole bunch of GPX tracks, and you can basically separate those things into different layer groups and then be able to show and hide those kind of on demand. So you can hide all the images or hide all of the GPX tracks and show and hide them on demand. When we bring in features, they're going to be brought in automatically to whichever layer group is currently the active one. So the active layer group, if we create a new one, is the one with the little bit lighter kind of shading. So this is now the active layer group. And you can delete these by clicking on the settings button over here and click on the delete, and it'll delete this layer group and everything inside of it. So let's bring in some data. You can bring in data either locally, so from your local computer, or from the data depot in DesignSafe. So let's bring in something from DesignSafe at first. So we click on data depot. I've got some files in here, so let's click on that. And let's bring in one of these images, for instance. So we click on the image, click OK. You should see this little loading window start spinning, and then it brings it in. So automatically it gets inserted into this layer group as the file name. And you can click on, and in this case it's an image of a golf course, and if you click on the image, you should see sort of a smaller preview image, and then if you click on this button which appears, you should see basically the full resolution image show up. So let's bring in, just for instance, another one. Actually, let's do that from our local computer. I've got some data here too. Let's bring it in from the Hazmapper, and let's see. Another golf image. Let's bring that one in. Okay, so that one came up here. Again, you should be able to click on the image and show a preview. You can also zoom to the image on the left-hand control panel. If you click on the little target button, it should automatically kind of center the map on that particular image. So let's bring in another one from the data depot. Let's try this one. Okay. So let's center it on that. So that's another picture, and let's see. So yeah, these points we can actually modify too. So let's zoom in a little bit. Let's close this pane and zoom in. And let's see, let's say it came across as being located here, but I know the picture was actually taken right here, so let's change the location of that. So we can increase the latitude a little bit and decrease, let's increase the longitude a little bit, and that's closer to where it actually was taken. We can also bring in, let's say a GPX track. So let's do this. Let's create a new layer group. And when you click on a new layer group, you can also rename it. So let's call this GPX tracks. And then we'll save that. And let's rename this one to be images. And then you click on the check button to save it. So again, let's if you click on this, that'll make it the active layer group. And let's bring in a GPX track from the data depot. Okay, so now we got pictures over here, pictures over here. We're not entirely sure where this is, but if you click on that, we should zoom into it. So here's a track that goes around the lake there. So let's talk about these buttons over here. We can change the base layers which are displayed. So by default it sets itself to be a satellite view, and we can change that to a street map view also. And let's go back to satellite. Okay, so let's say you don't like the color of this, you can change that. So you click on the layer, and then you click on this color bar here, and let's make it hot pink. Close that window, close this, and now this guy is hot pink. Let's make a new layer group. Let's call it KML, something like that. So this is now the active layer group, and we're going to import data. And let's see, KML site layout. Okay, so this guy was a KMZ file with a whole bunch of different features in it. So let's zoom to that. So if we click on that, we can actually zoom to basically every the region that encloses that entire layer group. So let's zoom to this group, and here's what we have here. So we've got some tracks in here and also a bunch of markers. And again, you can zoom to each individual one. And let's see, this is a path. So the icons on the left side, basically all the markers show little marker icons, all the paths show this kind of path polygon type shape. Let's see, well, let's go ahead. So let's hide these, and yeah, if you click on this little button, is the show and hide feature, so you can show and hide these guys as you go if you've got too much stuff on there. You can hide the settings, and let's do this. Let's delete this guy. So click on the settings, we're just going to delete this whole layer group and create a new one, and we'll call it drawings. So you can also create drawings on the fly. You can create like a polygon or a line. You can create shapes. You can draw rectangles and also place markers on a map. So this is our active layer group. We're going to draw some lines on here, which goes up this road, I guess, and goes down this way. Click on that to save it. And again, you can change the color and opacity of this feature if you want. So we'll make it purple and bring up the opacity. And let's add some rectangles over here. So the polygons, you can change the fill color. So this will change the fill. And also the stroke color, the outside edge color. So we'll make that cyan and save that, and then let's increase the opacity. Let's see, we can also draw just kind of a generic polygon shape. So let's try to, let's see, do this. We'll make a polygon around this area here. So you start clicking around, and then when you're done, you just click on the endpoints and it should close it in. And let's say we want to make some markers on this map too. So let's say we'll mark this building here, and we'll mark this building here. So if you click on a feature, you can change the label. So we'll say this is building A, and we're going to change the color of this guy. And let's change this to building B. So there's another feature in here that we can add metadata to any one of these points. So this is basically a key value type store where we can create, let's say, the name of the building is Joe, and we save that, and let's add another record that says status good, and then save that. So if there's extra data that you need to attach to any of these features, you can do that in the metadata section there. And you can do that on polygons also. Any feature you can definitely add metadata to. Let's see what else. Let's close this guy off. And you can also kind of show and hide these layer groups as you go. If they've got a whole bunch of features in them, you can kind of collapse them by clicking this arrow button on the left. So let's see, we can also create measurements. So let's say we want to know the distance of this road from here to here. So then you click on the measurement tool, which is in this upper left hand corner, and create new measurement. And so this is about 1/4 of a mile, 367 meters, and then we can just delete that. Those are not persistent, but you can make them on the fly. You can also measure areas. So let's see if we can find a good region. Let's see how big this lot is here. So we're going to create a new measurement, click on that button, and then we start outlining this area. And then click on this to finish it. So it's 4,000 square meters and about a 250 meter perimeter in that area. So that's a handy tool where you can make measurements. What else do we have here? Let's see, in the settings, so you can also, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of all these guys. So we're going to click on the settings to delete this layer group. Let's click on this to zoom to it, just to make sure, and then let's click on that again to delete it. And then let's delete this guy too. So now we've got just an empty map, no features on there at all. In the settings panel, you can change like the default marker color. So it's set up to be kind of a blue marker with red polygons and lines that you draw. And you can change that here so that any new features that you add become a different color. So let's make our markers kind of this cyan aqua color, and our polygons will have a fill color that is orange, and an outline that is going to be hot pink. And we'll change the opacity. Let's just set that back to where it was so we can see it. Okay, so now let's add a marker. So we'll place a marker on the map, and then all of our markers should now be cyan. Let's go back to satellite. And if we make a polygon, once we're done, it should show up as the colors that we picked. So we've got orange as a fill color and a hot pink as the outline. Yeah, you can delete each individual feature over here. So let's just delete that one. This point we don't need. Let's get rid of that. And again, you can change if you don't like it for each individual one. You can change the fill colors and strokes inside here. So let's see what else. So yeah, if there is, let's save this map. So we've got this map that we like, everything's in it, so let's save it to the data depot. By default, it saves it in as the name of the map that you chose. So let's save it in, yeah, this Hazmapper file is Joe's Cool Map. And save that, and then again you should see this loading icon as it's working to save everything, and then a notification that says that we actually saved it to the data depot. Okay, so let's open that map again. If you do this, anything that you've currently done and not saved will get wiped out, but we can open an existing map from the data depot, and let's do that. So we should see Joe's Cool Map. There it is, and let's open that puppy up. And it's basically the same thing that we had here. Let's see. Again, you can open up an existing Hazmap that you saved locally. You can also save a map that you're making to your local computer or to Data Depot. So let's do this. Let's do a brand new Hazmapper. Okay, so basically this is warning you that anything you've done so far will be lost. Are you sure you want to do it? So I'm sure. Let's click it, and it should wipe out everything. And now, yeah, just make sure, let's open that same Hazmap from Data Depot, Joe's Cool Map. And there it is. So yeah, this is basically the Hazmapper. That's kind of the Reader's Digest condensed version of everything that it does. If there's any questions, you can submit a ticket or hit us up on Slack, and we'll be happy to help you make new maps. Thanks.